Wow. We're already halfway through the season. Felt like it just started already. I don't know. What do you guys think? Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. On today's program, I am here to talk about the Walking Dead Season 10 mid-season finale. Yes, I know I have said in the past that I was probably not going to be doing any more individual reviews, but I think I'm starting to have a change of heart on that, and I never thought I would say this, but I'm actually feeling a lot more motivated into talking about the show. So there is the possibility that I might do individual reviews of the back half of season 10 when the show comes back sometime I think it's sometime in February. Is it January or February? Well, anyways, so I'm thinking about doing individual episodes. I'm not exactly sure yet, but I thought I would go ahead and give my thoughts on the mid-season finale, since for anyone that, well, at least those that watch The Walking Dead will know that the biggest episodes of the season are generally the season premiere, mid-season premiere, and the season finale. So, and just let you guys know, I will be going into details on the episode, so I will be going into full on spoilers. So if you have not seen the episode, well, I highly suggest that you leave now. Otherwise, if you really don't care, then go ahead and, yeah, go ahead and continue to watch. So, my thoughts on this season, mid-season finale, I thought it was okay. It was, well, it was mediocre at best, I think. I didn't hate the episode per se, but I didn't enjoy it as much as the previous episodes. In fact, to be rather frank, I thought that this was probably the weakest episode in the entire season thus far. And that's really ironic because, as I've mentioned before, generally in the mid-season finale, there's some major events that happen to kind of set the story in motion for the second half, and nothing really happened. It was, I mean, I know, to be fair, there's been previous mid-season finales where nothing's really happened, like season 5. Well, no, I take that back. Season 5, you had the death of Beth. The death of Beth, yeah. So, but I don't know. Okay, so where do I begin? I thought the acting was pretty good. Of course, the actors on this show. That's the one thing that makes this show so great are the actors. So, but there were a few things that I didn't really like. Like, for instance, the beginning of the episode. So, to kind of give a little bit of a recap, at the beginning, you have Alpha talking to Dante, and this was a flashback to her setting the plan in motion for Dante to infiltrate Alexandria and to kind of spy on the group and stuff. And I get that she chose Dante, as because he's new to the group, and the writers needed justification as to why Lydia did not recognize Dante when he showed up at Alexandria. But I don't think the writers realized that they kind of flubbed here, because for Alpha to do something like this, to trust someone like Dante, it really says something about her that she's not a very bright person. Because, and it just seems kind of out of character, because the Whisperers, they're very reclusive, they're not very trusting of other people, so it really just does not make sense for Alpha to trust Dante, this guy who just shows up to the Whisperers, joins their community. And especially with setting him up with a big task like infiltrating a community. I don't know. Personally, if I were in her shoes, I would have chosen someone like Beta, or someone who has been with the group for a certain period of time, or at least a longer time, because Dante could have easily turned his back on Alpha and the Whisperers. since he did mention in the episode that he liked Sadiq. So there's a huge possibility that Dante could have he could have gotten even closer with Sadiq and gotten to the point where he could have broke and he could have admitted to Sadiq everything. Yeah, I know that that didn't happen, but still, it's like I'm hoping you get my point on this. That this just does not make Alpha a very competent leader. And I know that they're trying to set her up into being or showing her off as trying to be incompetent, but I really think that this was not very necessary for the story. And if you think about it, because they showed he was the one that tainted the water supply at Alexandria, and it goes to show you that Alpha didn't really think things through because what if Lydia ended up drinking the water? In fact, I'm surprised that she didn't even drink the water and get horribly sick. And then she would have screwed up because her whole point of letting Alexandria go was so that they would keep her daughter alive. So yeah, you send this new guy in to royally screw things up, or he could have royally screwed things up and could have potentially killed her daughter. And then, well, what was the point of that whole thing? I just really think that this was a very, very pointless story. You completely remove this angle from the overall story, and you really wouldn't be missing anything, really. And it also doesn't make any sense that Alpha would do something like this because she made it a point to cross to the community with that border that you cross our border again, there will be consequences. And I think that this scene was prior to the winter scene where they did cross the border. The other times, like with them sending the various herds to Alexandria to kind of weaken them, I understand her justification in that because they did cross her border those couple of times. But this whole deal with Dante, it just, I don't know, it just seems very out of place for her to do. But that's just my whole opinion on that. What else? Oh, and then, oh my God. So the whole thing with Carol running after Alpha and then everybody chasing after Carol. And this is another thing that really drives me nuts about the writing on this show as of the past few years. It's going as far back as season 8 is having characters doing incredibly stupid, making these stupid moves just to further the plot. I think they could have gone about them, like Carol and Daryl and a few of the others falling into wherever it was they were, like cave. Or they could have, I don't know. This was just a really tricky thing because it, like I said, it just doesn't make any sense for everyone to just kind of run after Carol, who's running after Alpha. I don't understand. I know that they were setting it up as some sort of big reveal of the Whispers, or not the Whispers, the mega herd that they have. I don't know. I just think they could have gone about it in a much better way that would have been a little more organic, shall I say. And then, of course, we've got. I'm trying to think of all that else that's happened. Oh, yeah. And then you have Michonne and Judith and some of the other people showing up at Oceanside. And Michonne meets this guy, I think his name is Virgil, who promises to take her to some sort of island where they've got supplies which should help them in defeating the Whisperers. And I think it seems obvious at this point that they are setting up Michonne's exit from the show. And I don't know how I feel about this because I don't think it really makes any sense for her to just leave Judith and RJ behind like that. Just to, why not just send somebody else out to go find the supplies? And personally, I think there's only two options that makes sense for Michonne to leave, or for, to justify Denai Guerrero leaving the show or writing Michonne out of the show. And either it should result in either Michonne dying or, but of course, I don't know exactly if Denai is like Andrew or Andrew Lincoln, and that if she wants to come back into the movies. I don't know. It's like the impression that I kind of got from her from the her interview at the SDCC panel. It kind of seemed, the impression that I got was that she seemed like she might be done with The Walking Dead altogether. But of course, I could be wrong, and they could be possibly setting her up to go over to the Rick movies, if that even happens after all. But I'm thinking this is either going to have to result in Michonne dying, or that, say, because keep in mind, this wasn't the last episode, because we clearly did see scenes of Michonne in the preview for the second half of season 10. So I'm thinking the only other way to justify her exit is, say, Virgil. I think I've got this guy's name right. If I'm wrong, definitely leave a comment. But either way, the guy that she's accompanying to this island, there's the possibility that he could know Rick. Or either way, I think this would have to result in her finding out that Rick is still alive and that she's going to pursue finding him. That's the only justification I could see in her not coming back to Alexandria. But it'll be interesting to see exactly how they write her out of the show. I don't know. I'm still kind of skeptical as to how they're going to handle the writing, because personally, in case if you haven't seen the episode where I talked about Rick's final episode, I did not like his exit at all. So I have a feeling I'm probably not going to like how they write her out of the show. But anyway, so yeah, the big cliffhanger, of course, is, as I mentioned before, Carol finds Alpha. She chases her, and then everyone else that's accompanied Carol chases her. And they end up stumbling across the mega herd that's in the cave. So it'll be interesting to see how they exactly get out of this alive. But of course, my memory is short, so I don't remember if I've mentioned, but I will be working on the first half, or my thoughts on the first half of the season 10, probably sometime this week or next week, so be on the lookout for that. But I am curious to know exactly what you guys think about the mid-season finale, if you've seen it. Are you guys kind of in the same boat as me, and you kind of agree with what I'm saying? Or if you disagree, I would certainly love to hear your thoughts on it. Either way, please drop a comment down below. And thanks for watching. And until next time, dear friends, this is Cynical Lindsay, signing off.